both of our right legs. So he opens his gown and showed me that they had taken his leg and they cut it right above the knee, right? For bone cancer. And we're 16 years old. And he says, well, at least you still have yours, you know, and I had gone back to school. I was hospitalized for like several months. And when I got back to school and whatnot, somebody told me he had passed away. And so I went to his house. And his mother says, oh, we're sorry, we lost you, must be. And she called my name and all of that. And he talked about you. And I'm like trying to figure out, well, how could he talk about me? Because we didn't really know each other that well. We did spend some time together, but we didn't know each other that well. And so I'm just saying is that the cancers are being caused by the excess filth that's in our bodies. And to get up in the morning, and the first thing you do is reach for something that is going to create congestion and constipation. And you do this year in and year out, day in and day out. 365 days you're having eggs and grits and sausage and yesterday's dinner and all of this, that this is what's really happening. And nobody's really giving you the support in realizing that our life currency is what we're trading for paper currency. And we're taking the paper currency and then we are buying that which has no life force. It's dead. It's preserved. It's died. It's chemical laden. And we're taking it and we are frying it, we're baking it, we're boiling it, we're broiling it, and then we're eating it with some starch because we have been taught that our bodies need protein. And so we're not really supported in understanding that, no, we need more oxygenation because we are all breath air and everybody has to breathe. We need hydration. Our bodies are 80% water, like the earth is 80% water. And then we have to be fueled. But we've been fed. And when a people take over another people, they never have the people's best interests at heart. But you got to feed these people. So what do they feed them? They feed them that which is cheap. They're not concerned about our optimum cellular functioning. Just fill up the belly, fill up the belly, fill up the belly, feed them and get back to work. You understand? And so this is kind of the mentality that we have inherited over a few generations of eating whatever and getting back to work. Get up, get out. From the time we were very young, get up, get out. So now you got 5 and 6 year olds that are getting up at 4, 5:30 in the morning to go somewhere. And I'm like, this is so insane, right? Ain't no way in hell any 5-year-old, 6-year-old need to be getting up going to anywhere at that time of the morning. But this is a programming. And so the deprogramming is only going to come to a place in space where we are reprogramming to be fully participatory in the establishment of the queendoms and kingdoms of God, where we can get up and get cleaned up and organize our space and ease into our day with the attitude of gratitude, with the heart overflowing with thanksgiving, with the care to really be mindful, appreciative, and deliberately intentional about how we stand and how we be in our day. I'll be forward in just a bit. And so, for where we are, if you don't have a wholehearted desire to live your life in the fullness of who you are, it's because you're oppressed. If you don't have the desire to honor and glorify the lineages through whom you've come, and you think that having nice cars and nice things and nice clothes should make up for your cancerous, diseased body, it's because you are cellularly oppressed. And the body is full of waste because there is nothing natural about thinking that your things have more value than yourself, your blood, your organs. And so, but this is programming. And so we know we've been brought up with TV programs, radio programs. It's a programming. And so when people say, "Oh, I love your show," I say it's a program. It's a program for deprogramming us and reprogramming us to get us to realize that there is no political consciousness that is greater than vivid self-expression and self-representation as intelligences of existence. And because of the fragmentation, because of the divisiveness that has been instituted through this manipulation of miseducation, religious indoctrination, and socialization on a path of death that had you fully adulterated by 21 because you were fed like kids. And so we're having to realize that the tobacco, the alcohol, the marijuana, or what I call wacky weed at this particular point, it smells terrible. You understand that all of this is part of the intention to marginalize us, anesthetize, inebriate us so that we are not in our right alignment with the laws that govern our being and the laws that govern our continuation in existence as conscious immortals. That we don't have the clarity of mind, we don't have the levity of thought. We are regurgitating all of the programs, and many of which, much of which doesn't even make sense. But when you know, you know. And when you know, you do. And when you do what you know, you're going to benefit from it. And because we are in a plethora, a pandemic of sickness, illness, and disease, then the first line or the first right action to this level of oppression is to liberate yourselves from all of this sludge. Because even if, after being fed like kids on hot dogs, hamburgers, salami, lunch meats, deli meats, cheese, eggs, pancakes, waffles, all of this sludge, you can take the most revitalizing substances and not be able to utilize it because of all of the sludge that's in the body, all of the mucus. You can't really get nutrient absorption with all of this. And this is why the cleansing is something that really needs to be daily, because the body is cleansing daily, which is why we're so refreshed when we brush our teeth and when we bathe. And as we're maturing, we should be coming into greater degrees of clarity, greater degrees of thought, greater degrees of initiative, greater degrees of faith, greater degrees of conscious care to walk in the integrity of the gift that we each are, and to be able to invoke and call it forward, because we have been given the capacity for thought, the capacity for thought, the capacity for creating and co-creating our reality upon this planet. So we're all dwelling on the same planet, but we live in different worlds, and those worlds are being created by the substance and the content and the quality of our blood that is showing up by virtue of what it is we're consuming. And so our care to be cleansed, and so There are those who have been alcoholics and drug addicts and whatnot for years, and then they get assistance through some of the 12-step programming, and then they'll say, oh, well, I've been clean for a year, I've been clean for 10 years, I've been clean for 13 years, I've been clean. But if you've still been eating meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, and fish, there's no cleaning. You have no longer been ingesting it, but the body is still holding the residues. And so that's what makes fasting dangerous for people, particularly water fasting. So that if you spent 10, 12 years drugging out on cocaine, heroin, and this and that, and you do a water fast, your body is going to be eliminating the residues of those chemicals. And if you don't know how to cleanse yourself, all of those things will begin to reabsorb in your tissues. And depending on how long you're fasting, without really enhancing the cleansing process, those poisons can overwhelm you. And so it matters, particularly as women, that we care to be cleared, cleansed, purified, and renewed. You understand? And this is coming from the thought and the mind of Adama, that there has always been a knowing for generations that you were either going to be male or female from conception in mother's womb. So males evolved from females. And so you're either going to be one of those. All right? But as a result of how much tampering there's been, then we're having the realization of being both male and female, or being gender neutral. You understand? But you are still an intelligence of existence that's been perfectly and divinely designed, and your reality is that your cells need to be oxygenated, hydrated, mineralized, alkalized, and you need to be of the mind to do that which is truly going to be facilitative of your optimum cellular functioning. You understand? This is what it is to be, and what it is to be human, and what it is to be an intelligence is that you have an understanding as to what you have to do to maintain and sustain your gift of life. Now, we didn't give ourselves our lives. We don't beat our own hearts. We don't breathe ourselves. But we've been socialized to treat our bodies like freaking garbage cans. And so you do a test. Everything that you consume now, I'm not even telling you to change your diet. Whatever you consume it, no matter what it is, whatever you consume it, you eat it and then put some in the trash. Eat it, put some in the trash. Always leave something for the trash. All right? And I guarantee you, no matter how clean you think you're eating, no matter what it is, it's going to be stinky in the trash. So what is it doing in your body? Which is why deodorants and antibacterial soaps and feminine hygiene products and all of this has become multi-million-dollar business. Because our bodies are full of rot and bacteria and viruses and organisms and parasites and worms. And it's the natural state of most people as a result of being influenced by such an unnatural socialization to feel entitled, to undermine your cells, and to be completely ignorant of what you require, which is totally antithetical to what they call the first law of existence, which is self-preservation. But now they've bastardized that to being in a place where you have so much artificial colors and flavors and nitrates and nitrites that you're being preserved from the inside out. like the animals that you've been eating have been preserved. Otherwise, the flesh could not possibly be arterial. It's only because of the red dyes and all of that. So I'm just saying, at this particular point in juncture, we need to be very conscious and conscientious that our lives is our and we'll never have anything greater. And you cannot follow those who hate you, those who feel insecure to the degree to which they do not want to see, particularly melanin-dominated men, walk in their sobriety, in their God self. You understand? Unless they're working as their pawns in a system of enslavement and oppression. I'll be forward in just a bit. those who will change their diet, the changing of the diet, and coming into a point where, and I'm not even exalting being plant-based per se, we are water-based beings, which means that 80% of our body is actually water, and we need the minerals, the mineralization that's coming from the earth, that's coming from the clay, that's coming from your fruits and your vegetation. And so when they say plant-based, then you can be eating something that's made in plants that has potato starch and things that are growing from the earth. You understand? But everything is growing from the earth that may be of what they think is a vegetation origin is not going to provide us with the oxygenation, the hydration, and the cleansing. And so all of these ones who are eating all of this starch and all this protein, and particularly eating it together where it doesn't really digest well, so the protein is going to putrefy and the starch is going to ferment. And so we have just so much issue because we're not digesting, we're not consuming that which is cellularly regenerative, alkalizing, real nutrients. And then there's now this whole CMOS frequency. And it's nothing against CMOS, but you just taking all the CMOS, but you're still eating garbage. But you'll take CMOS. And I'm saying CMOS isn't cleansing. It's nourishing. But how much nutrition you're going to get, and then just taking a tablespoon of raw CMOS is not going to give you the same degree of mineral as if you really take the CMOS and you make something that's really nutritious and really good, and you can get a whole lot in it at one time, going directly to the blood. But give thanks for whatever you think you're doing in your best interest, but I'm going to tell you this. If you are not facilitating opening your channels of elimination so that as you are eating well, eating better, and when people say eating clean, I say, well, what does that mean, eating clean? I don't know what that means. What is that? What are you eating, right? And how are you going to eat clean and get what you really need and you've never been cleansed? How can you get it in? And so when people say, well, I know so many vegan vegetarians that are passing away, and I'm saying, yeah, I do too, which is why I'm advocating the cleansing, which is not the same thing as eating a vegan form of the same stuff that we grew up eating. All right, so we are not human feeders, we are not useless eaters, we are intelligences of existence that function perfectly and have been dysfunctioning as a result of an agenda that is depopulation and genocide, and the free enterprise system that legalizes all kinds of garbage available for us to feed and to give our children. So I'm just saying, no, you got to woman up and man up and not participate, right? Why? Because you should not be facilitating your own oppression. And now that you realize how much oppression there is, and this affects all of our families, we're seeing people pass away of all ages, from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, dialysis, all kinds of stuff. And none of it is natural, except it's natural as a result of the violations that have been charged upon the blood consistently over time, the congestion, the constipation, and the contraindication of that which is colorless, odorless, tasteless, but still present. And so I'm at 404-523-8989 if anybody has any questions, concerns. I want you to really feel a sense of obligation, duty, and responsibility to your greatness. It's not just about being a great basketball player or a great singer or a great musician. I mean, we've got many greats, and I'm just saying when the actuality of who and what we are is divinity personified, then yeah, great is good, but it ain't good enough when you are under siege. You understand? Where you're under siege, where you can still be proficient, you can still be great and still be killing yourself and your children. Undermining yourself, thinking and smoking and drinking and getting high and the hookah bars and all of this stuff. I'm just saying, this is insanity. And people say, well, you know, you can't make nobody. But they should not, the system should not make you stupid. You understand? A system that facilitates stupidity in people is a stupid and ill system, okay? Because nobody should be delighting in our ignorance of that which is law for us. Why should we undermine ourselves, wage war against ourselves, and then think that we should have happy marriages? Think that our children should be healthy, when we do not have a right orientation, a right mind towards that which is facilitative of health. You understand? And this is the insanity, is that you think you should be healthy when you do everything that is undermining your cells. And even if you work out, even if you're in the gym, you understand? And I've been in the gym sometime years ago, and I see all of these bloated bellies, and I'm like, you doing all of that? That ain't gonna get that out. That ain't nothing but pure stuff that needs to come out in the toilet. If it ain't coming out in the toilet, baby, you'll turn it into hard muscle. It's not going to make you healthy. And so your body, so perfect, so divine, it needs water, it needs minerals. So you get some minerals with your alkalized water. You get minerals with your salts. Well, you know, I don't use salt no more. You know, it's my high blood pressure. You know, you can't. So your high blood pressure don't really have that much to do with the salt. It's the narrowing of the tributaries of your blood vessels, your 100,000 miles of blood vessels, capillaries, veins, and arteries that are full of sludge. All right, so no, we can clean all of that up. But they got y'all in a mentality that the body does not regenerate. You understand? Because they'll tell you, well, you need to be on these medications for the rest of your life. And I'm like, how is that? You don't need to, well, you know, I got you on blood thinners, so, you know, you can't have any vitamin K, you can't have any greens. And I'm saying, but the greens will thin your blood, so why do the medication when you can eat the greens? And how much is the medication? And then you got to be on the medication all of your life. Why? Because they do not encourage you to eat that which is cellularly regenerative. All right, so I'm just saying, it's a stupid system. How do you know it's stupid? Because it's creating stupid people. What is the stupidity? The insanity of feeling that you have the right to everything when you destroy the greatest thing that you've been given, which is yourself and your children and the legacy of your lineages. And I'm not here to do anything other than tell you the truth, because you get supported in the stupidity by a system of oppression. Now, with 370 million people on this North American continent that are being seduced into thinking that they have to have protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that protein is coming from pigs, cows, chickens, turkeys, fish, sea creatures, right? That's billions of animals and creatures. Billions to feed 370 million people, right? And so when you do your math and you take your years of life, say you're 50 years old. That means you've lived 18,250 days. 18,250 days. So the day you came out your mother's womb, somebody bathed you until you could bathe yourself. And unless there were some extenuating circumstances, once you got teeth, and once you start bathing yourself, you probably have brushed your teeth and bathed all of these days of your life. But how many of those days did you go without eating meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, sugar, alcohol, tobacco? And see, most people, I won't say most, but many people start the smoking and the drinking as teenagers, right? And so at 50 years, if you started smoking at the age of 16, right, that you got all of these years of accumulation of chemicals in the brain and throughout the system. This is why I'm saying that we have to be cleansing. It's not just about changing the diet. And the use of the clay. The clay is coming from deep within the earth, right? It is the earth. But it has magnetism, it has minerals, right? And so you bring it into the system through the medium of water, and it helps to go through and pull and loosen anything that is viral, bacterial, organismic from your tissues. You sweat it out in the tub, and you release it with the opening of the bowels. Now, anything that is literally vitally nutritious for you, that's coming from fruit or vegetation, it is that because of the minerals of the soil. And when they tell you, oh, well, the soil doesn't have any more minerals, so you got to take supplements. But where are they getting the minerals in the supplements if the soil is depleted? Right? And people say, well, you know, I can't find grapes with seeds. I said, well, they do have some that still have seeds. But then if you can't find grapes with seeds, then where is the grape seed oil coming from? Do you have those who are the producers of grape seed oil growing grapes that are seeded just so that they can make the grape seed oil? Which is a non-necessity in our lives. We don't have to have grape seed oil. But then you can buy the grape seed extract. Now, you can't buy the grapes with seeds, but you can go to the store and get a bottle of grape seed extract. So, I mean, who has the land now that's growing the grapes with seeds, and then they're taking it and creating extract from the seed? Because what? Because the people are going to spit the seeds out anyway. So now you got to go and get the seeds extract from a shelf. I'm just saying, we're in a place and space where we realize that we really do not require that much. But because of how much we've had, then that's why there's so much cleansing that needs to happen. Because very few people are remembering that whatever you consume, whatever you've done, whatever you've ingested, your body doesn't forget anything. And you're not going to remember most of it. And so we're in a place and space where our now moment, we have access to so much. But people are not really understanding the power of the herbs. And from back to Eden with Jethro Kloss, you understand, herbs have been a part of most people's lives who have been vegetarian. But at this particular point in juncture, where people are taking all kinds of vitamins and supplements that are made in pharmacies, pharmaceuticals, and whatnot, and you're not getting any real live mineralization, alkalization that allows you to be able to outthink a system of oppression. I'll be for it.